Hey guys, how's it going? Daniel here. Today we are taking a look at the Magic Keyboard for the iPad Pro. This retails for $300. If you get the 12.9 inch model, you will have to spend $350. But I really don't recommend that you go out and spend this without really thinking it over, because I think overall, this is just not a product that is worth spending that amount of money on for a number of reasons. So there will be timestamps down below in the description, so you guys can skip around to see if there's something specific you want to find out about this keyboard, since this video might run a little long. And I do want to thank PaperLike for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate that. So we'll talk about them later in the video. So first off, I want to get started with the things that you can get as opposed to spending $300 and getting basically the exact same functionality, and also some of the same drawbacks that you get with this Magic Keyboard, because this Magic Keyboard is just not even close to perfect. This is really a version 1, and Apple could have done much better than this. So let's close this out. And again, if you want to skip around, feel free to check the description, but I do want to show what you guys can get for much cheaper. So I've gone over this in the past. There's these cheap keyboards on Amazon that you can get for around 20 bucks, which are pretty great. They aren't going to be as sturdy as the Magic Keyboard. As you can see, there's some flex to this. So on your lap and something, you'll get that bend a little bit. On a table, it will work very well. But here's something that I've actually not seen out there that you can do. So take a Smart Folio, which you can use even the cheaper ones that they have on Amazon, but I do feel that these are slightly better quality if you're gonna do something like this. And what you can do is actually stick this thing to the back. As you can see, it is on there, like it does not fall off. So you can actually carry this around with the keyboard stuck to the back. But you might be wondering, well, how would I, use this properly? Well, here's the nice thing about this combo right here. You can use your iPad and have a case on it. And, if you're just gonna use it normally, now it covers the keyboard on the back, so your fingers aren't clicking against that, which is nice. If you do wanna use the keyboard, well, as soon as you go to unfold it, push the keyboard out, put it right in front of you, and go ahead and fold that, and boom, there you have it. Your own kind of little setup there, which works just as you'd expect. And then you just click the on switch on one of these keyboards, and then it's connected. Let's see. It should connect instantly. There we go. So there you go. Works perfectly fine. Nice thing here is that it has the function keys row, which works really well. So you can turn brightness down, you can turn it up, you can bring the volume up and down. All that works really well. And this one's mute right here, but the volume up and down works very well. You can even lock the iPad and then come back to it like so, which works really well. And Face ID is not getting me. There we go. But yes, that is something to keep in mind. This works surprisingly well. Then when you're done, you can actually just even prop it right behind. It'll magnetically attach, and then it's stuck back there, which is nice. And if you want to just push it forward, you can, and then it's stuck right there, and boom. I mean, pretty great setup if you ask me. So definitely a cheaper way to go about it. You can, of course, also add a mouse to that equation. Turn that on, then it's automatically connected so that you can use the mouse the same way you would. Now, mouse support isn't that great as much as it is with trackpad support or Apple's native devices like the Magic Mouse and stuff, because of the gestures. So this is really, if you want to use everything that mouse support has to offer, you're going to have to get a trackpad or the Magic Mouse with gestures so that works, because a lot of things here are being held up on purpose by Apple so that you get their own products. So yeah, just as a rule of thumb, if you're gonna use a mouse, it's really only gonna work for pointing and clicking and not really dragging and stuff. It will work really well for selecting text and all that. So if you are gonna be doing typing, this is great for type work and all that stuff. It also works pretty good on Hearthstone and some games like that. Now let's talk about the other alternative, which is of course the Keyboard Folio, which is slightly less expensive than the Magic Keyboard, but still quite a bit expensive and still overpriced, because all of Apple's accessories for the iPad Pro are very overpriced, and they're just getting away with it by just continually doing so, and people still buy the things. But there you go. This is the Keyboard Folio. Of course, we've taken a look at this in the past, and there's a whole video regarding this. This one's good because you can still fold this back and use it as a normal tablet, something that the Magic Keyboard prevents you from doing, and one of the reasons why I don't recommend it, because it goes against everything the iPad is designed to do. For the Magic Keyboard to be great, it would have to do this right here for you to be able to flip it back into place and get right into work again. So this is overall a better experience if you use your iPad more often. And you only need a keyboard from time to time. You want to keep that usability factor, because the Magic Keyboard throws that completely out the window. You can, of course, use, your own traditional mechanical keyboard if that's something you prefer. which is also really great. So there's lots of options out there instead of spending $300 on Apple's keyboard. And let's go back here. I don't know what's happening. Oh, the keyboard's still connected. Hold on. This brings us to today's sponsor, and that is PaperLike. And PaperLike is a matte screen protector for all iPad models, which gives your screen a matte finish, but more interestingly, as the name suggests, it gives the iPad a paper-like feel. This means that whenever you sketch with the Apple Pencil, you will get the sound and response like that of paper. This is also great if you sketch with your hand resting on your iPad, since this prevents your hand from sticking to the glass as you move about. Heck, even if you use your iPad for magazines or reading and stuff, or you just want to get rid of glare in general, which is specifically nice for non-laminated displays, this is going to work really great. So if you're in the market for a screen protector, make sure to check out the link down below in the description and check the folks over at PaperLike. Again, thanks to PaperLike for sponsoring this video. All right, so now that you know that the mouse support isn't that great, especially, you kind of need to turn on some of the assistive touch features to get all of that support in there. Let's go ahead and talk about the trackpad here real quick, which also has some of the issues of its own because some things just do not work around the OS. Even in Safari, let's say a website has a gallery. Sometimes those galleries, for some reason, they don't work with the arrow keys. They also don't work with the trackpad at all, and you have to use your finger to do that. So there's a lot of little things like that that I find a little bit odd that don't work. Here's a really small example of something that I wish was a feature in here in settings. Basically, you can see here that if I drag up, which I'm used to going up, right? So I go up, right? It goes down, and that's because of natural scrolling. When you do it in the settings, it basically also makes it OS wide. So here, if I want to scroll the way that I like to scroll, which is like this, I have to leave the feature the way it is right now. If I go and change the feature, it will fix this, right? So that I can swipe up to get rid of it, but then it changes scrolling to the other direction. And boy, was that driving me crazy. Every time I opened something up or did anything, I was just like, oh yes, I have to remember. And yes, I got used to it, but there should be some settings in there for customization. One little tidbit I wanted to add is that the keyboard has been causing my iPad to drain more battery life than usual. Now this is the 2018 iPad Pro, so worth noting. I don't know if maybe the newer iPad Pro, I had to return mine to wait for my model to go back in stock. So I don't know if this is just this or it's me imagining it. So I'm not making this as an official claim, but I don't know. I just want to say, like, just as a normal human being, I've been noticing that the battery is draining quite a bit faster than usual. The Magic Keyboard itself is just an incredible experience. It does feel great to type on it. I prefer to type on this than on my 15-inch MacBook. And a mechanical keyboard, I prefer it over my actual Magic Keyboard on my desktop. It's just a really great experience. And if it wasn't $300, I would be able to, be okay with all the drawbacks that it has physically, maybe for $200, and keep it just for those occasional times that I type. But here's where we run into the problem. What if I want to use my iPad? What if I want to sketch? What if I want to do something? I can't. As you can see here, I can't push it back more. I can't in some way flip it forward. I have to remove it and put it here if I want to sketch, or close the tablet and put it there if I don't want to mess up the keyboard or anything, and that's a little bit clumsy in my opinion. I'm not going to do that every single time I want to draw, because the accessory itself should be designed around the iPad's versatility, and it's not. And it's obvious that eventually we will get that, and Apple knows that. So this is a very first-gen product, and it's very silly that we didn't get something that was a little bit more versatile, because obviously Apple knows, right? This works if you're a student and this is what you want to use the iPad for, this mode right here. And then from time to time, maybe do some annotations or scribble or sign some documents if you're in business or law or something. That works really well. If you use your iPad a lot of times also by hand and you read magazines and stuff, I don't think this is great, because when you remove it, now you have to worry about this being there, and now you have this, and the aluminum heats up quite a bit sometimes, and that makes your hand sweat and gets this dirty and grimy. I don't like that, so I like to keep a case on it. It's just a lot of inconveniences for me. I also never left it open charging like this to remove it in the mornings and stuff, like the commercials and stuff, because I have a cat and stuff, and I don't also want to get this filled with dust over time, so I want to keep care of things, and I'm not going to leave this open charging. Oddly enough, when you go to close this and you go to plug this into a charging outlet, I found myself connecting to this one first and not to this one, because this one's harder to get to whenever you're putting this on a desk and connecting it to the side. It's not as easy to get into, so no real pro with having that one over there, unless you're going to Starbucks and you just need to charge it while using it. That's also worth noting that in most cases, you are going to find yourself not being able to open this with one hand or anything. You do have to kind of take both hands and then pull it up and then push it with one hand. It's not an easy, like just one hand to like turn a laptop that you come accustomed to with Apple's MacBooks or anything like that. Sometimes I find myself by mistake doing this, and it's just kind of like in the speed of the moment, trying to get the iPad quickly or whatever, and that flips open. That kind of sucks, and it ruins kind of the experience a little bit. Just worth noting. It just feels clunky to have to open this and then have to push again. There's something about the usability and the quick aspect of it that doesn't scream Apple that we've accustomed to, especially for $300. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. It was just basically a quick look at this, at some of the reasons why I didn't like it, and I'll be returning this device because I feel like Apple can make something better and for the same price, you know, because $300 for something so limited that kind of takes away the iPad's functionality, for me, is just not worth it. But I'm sure that if you use the iPad more for typing and everything and you want to transform it into this look most of the time, then this is going to be great for you, and I'm sure you're going to really like it for the money. But still, I still think this should have been like $220 or so, $250 max for this model. But yeah guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.